Thank you.
Welcome, folks, to another installment of the R2 podcast. Guys, what a year it's been. Welcome to our year in review special. Sean's going to have some wonderful Christmas music playing as this goes on, I'm sure, being the wizard that he is with editing. Guys, this is going to be a fun episode. I can't wait to wrap up this season with you. But before we get started, Sean, what's going on with, I'm hearing rumors of a R2P symposium. What is that? Tell us about that.
Connor, the rumors are true. So as R2P tends to do, what they have done for the past half decade or so, if not more, we are running another symposium or big seminar that is happening in February. So this is coming out on Christmas Day. And that gives you another 6 days for the early bird pricing. So let's talk a little bit about what you'll be getting with that. So down in Texas at Parker, they're going to be putting on the 2023 R2P Symposium with the speakers this year being Capo, Dr. Steve Capobianco from of Rock Tape fame, one of the founders, has talked on the R2P residency, also talked to the student executive board recently as well.
Then we great.
He was awesome. If you want the link, let us know. It's on our YouTube page. The other one will be Venmo me. The other one will be Dr. Annie O'Connor. This will be of World of Hurt fame. So great book. She's talked in the past. She has her own seminar series, but really, really good at the understanding of pain science and classifying pain. It is a 2-day seminar. This will be February 4th and 5th. So definitely jump onto that if you're interested down in Parker. This will be in Dallas. Parker Fit, if you've never been to their gym, is beautiful. Large gym, everything you can need times 4. We had a great time last year when some members of the board were speaking, but the early bird pricing will end on December 31st. Like I said, from the date of the drop of this episode, you have 6 days. Students can get this for $129. Docs or other professionals can get this for $329. So that saves you like $70.
That's great value.
It is great value, especially, I mean, you think you're looking with just Annie O'Connor alone. I mean, that seminar that she does is probably $200 to $300.
What, $10,000 probably just for that one?
Right. Yeah. $300,000 is what I said. So here you can get it for just $129. Otherwise, after January 1st, it'll jump up, and this will actually, this is where your membership also kind of kicks in and helps you out. So if you're a member of the R2P residency, students will still only be paying $149. Docs or other professionals will be $349. If you're not a member, you're looking at $199 or $399 for admission to that seminar. So be a member.
That's crazy. I'm gonna start reading out my credit card number. I want you to put me down for one admission right now.
I got you down.
I don't want to miss that.
We're gonna need your social security as well.
Yeah, we need an address.
I think you guys already have it.
But the symposium this year will be reconceptualizing pain with an R2P approach. So talking about how we understand pain and how that can kind of fit into the R2P model. So jump on that, especially in the next 6 days before the end of the year, is the best way to get the best deal.
Awesome. Love to hear it. That's going to be a fun one. Guys, make sure you're getting out to anything R2P that you can. This stuff is, they don't take it lightly. They really make sure that they're delivering a great product. But let's get started into the episode. So year in review. So we're just going to kind of talk about, this is our first year as podcasters. So we're just going to kind of wrap things up. How did things go? What did we did well? What's on the horizon? Talk some statistics. But yeah, let's get into it, guys. Let's just reminisce a little bit. I want to know your guys' top 3 favorite episodes. Maybe let's just go one at a time. We'll go around. Just kind of quickly talk about your favorite, or why don't we start with our third favorite to start? And there's only, how many episodes do we have? 12 or something?
18. This will be 19.
Just 18. Okay.
Just 18.
Okay. So, all right. Well, okay. That's not too bad then. Doc stat. edit that out. What do we have, like 18 episodes? So
18.
let's start with our third favorite. Alex, what do you got for us?
Well, I can't really say that I put mine in numerical order. I just listed 3. So
Okay, we'll give you a second.
I'll give you one. Let's go. I'm gonna say all right, this might be cheating, but I'm just gonna encompass the 3-part series with Dr. Snell. That was like I can't pick one or the other because it was all one discussion, really. I guess 2, but I had never heard him speak before, and so that was just cool to hear him talk. But then something that he gave me and that gave us, listeners, that I've really tried to apply was that whenever he pointed out to the patient that they're the ones that actually got themselves better that day in the visit. And he, phrased that question of who got you better today. And usually they would say him, but he's like, no, it was you. So I've tried to use that in office, and it's been pretty cool. So pretty effective.
Yeah, that was a great episode. I think that was the third one specifically.
Yeah.
One other little tidbit that he dropped in the third one. Well, I'll tell the story first. So Dr. Snell's been super, super gracious to the RTP reps over here. He's really taken us under his wing and shown us the ropes, etc. And we were blessed enough to go to exercise 3 this weekend, and Kat Nam, our previous podcast guests, were there as well. But we didn't really know how to repay him because he's literally given us so much. So I went back into the episode and I went right to the point where he was talking about his favorite pair of pants. And he came and presented an RTP not too long ago. I'm like, hey, what's your pant size? And he was just like so taken aback. He's like, whatever, 31. I'm like, okay. And yeah, we got him a pair of pants as a thank you.
That's
So
awesome.
that was another, yeah. And you know what? They're great pants. I was having a look at them.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. They're good
That's
pants.
fantastic.
Yeah. Sean, what do you got for us?
I have to kind of throw a little shout out to the group in Palmer at Davenport, Iowa. I think one of my favorite podcasts, or top 3, would be the origin story of how Palmer R2P came to be. That's luckily I had some small part to play early on with just kind of helping them jumpstart, give them some ideas. And now Connor even took that a step further by building a big Google Drive network where we can share things amongst other upcoming clubs. So it was nice to be at the ground floor, and then also like even talk to them a year later and be like, where are you guys at now? Tanner and Abe did such a good job of spearheading that whole thing, especially while also being reps for a MPI, a whole different club, and then passing it on to some absolute studs up there who have had the opportunity to meet a few times, all of us. So I would say any chance we get to talk to the Palmer guys and gals up there gives me a lot of insight to what it looks like to be kind of a grassroots effort, which is very different than what I've seen being a rep at Logan, because I came into this after it's been in existence for almost a decade, I think, at this point. So I feel like I'm standing on the shoulders of giants here at Logan, whereas at Palmer and now Northwest Health Sciences University, seeing all these guys and gals come up and actually just kill it and do all the things they need to do to make sure things are right with the school, and pulling student members in to kind of experience this style of chiropractic has been huge. And I love being able to support that anyway. So getting Abe and Tanner on the podcast a while back was an absolute blast.
Yeah, I heard it. Since that podcast, they have to turn people away at the door now.
They're too busy.
But we got to get some awards
Wearing the
going
shirt?
on. Like, yeah, it's a nice shirt too.
Yeah.
I'm like rookie of the year. Who do we have for rookie of the year? What club?
Ooh. Well, this year, okay, so Palmer Davenport would have started did they start 2022 or was it 21?
21.
Then 21.
I'd say last 2-3 years. If you're a club, you're eligible.
I'm gonna vote Palmer Davenport.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we
I
got
would
a
second
national meeting tomorrow. We can discuss that.
Hash it out. Thank you, Connor.
Jeez. I got a couple that are going to be the same as you guys, so I'm going to try and choose different ones. Honestly, Alphabet Soup I thought that was great. That was a big struggle to try and get through without sounding like an idiot. because there's going to be people listening to it that are like that are better at these things. They're like, I don't know about that or something. But I thought that was a great second episode for us, second, third episode, and that was I really like that one. I thought it kind of was a good foundation of RGP and a lot of the stuff that we talk about. I think I've sent a lot of people in that direction to just kind of brush up on their technique systems.
Mhm.
So that's what I got for number 3.
Yeah, I think even the Palmer RGP crew has started calling some of their early meetings Alphabet Soup, which I've seen some pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's essentially what it is. Like more times you just say
Yep.
DNS and SFMA and FMS and NDS and MDT, and it really is just like a bowl of Alphabet Soup. But yeah, I mean, going back to those, I think it was an important thing. We knew it wouldn't be the most exciting episodes ever, but it was a foundation that we had to lay. And at any time when we bring in new reps or new student members, that's always a place to point them if they don't really understand, like, so how does all this stuff fit together? Like, so you don't just teach one technique. Like, what are you? It's because we pull from a lot of things, and both part 1 and part 2 of Alphabet Soup help lay that foundation.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we started doing that at the beginning of each quarter. Alphabet Soup. Who coined that term? Is that you, Sean?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'll take credit. I'll take credit.
Alphabet Soup.
Yeah. I think it was Campbell's actually.
Yeah. Well, we'll get the rights. Have Corey look into buying the rights for that.
Corey. All right, Alex.
Yeah.
Number 2, gentlemen, pros and cons. Are one of the most recent episodes, I guess.
Yeah.
And I would have to say that it went way better than I expected. And for those of you listening, maybe before you listen to it, you might have thought, oh, this is going to be an absolute just rage fest against chiropractic school. Well, as our biochem professor would say, joke's on you. I mean, yes, we have had our fair share of disagreements and discrepancies with our schools, but I think that the cool part about that episode was that what I kept hearing was there were way more pros than cons, and we all had a drive, a vision that kept us in the game. And what I got feedback from students from other schools and early on in school, and they were telling us, hey, thanks for putting that episode out. It really kind of encouraged me as we got close to the end of the trimester. So that was just a cool all around experience, I thought.
Yeah. That was a well received episode. I got something to show you guys here. Folks at home, you're not gonna be able to see this. I might get kicked off the podcast for showing them. Look what I picked up at the library. Oh my god.
It's getting the green screen.
The Sherman system.
The Sherman system.
I'm gonna read that over Christmas. A little gift to me.
We'll talk about
it. I just got DNS exercise certified, so I gotta
you gotta balance it.
balance it out with super straight chiropractic stuff. So
so
far it does look a little wacko.
Hey man, go in the wacko and come back out. Well, just a little teaser for later. I mean, that podcast was the quickest growing podcast of this series, or of everything we've done so far, except for maybe the very first one. But even then, this one blew up because I think people like lists, and people also are very interested in how other people view the school and the education that they're going through. So really, if you have anyone that you know that might be interested in what you're doing or potential takes that you have on the education you're going through, I think there's some good points in there, and the understanding that there are going to be positives and negatives to any experience you have in life. It's all about what you take out of it and what you make, and if you can make the most of it. But with that being said, I think my second, if we are putting them in order, would probably have to be the financial episode that I did with Dr. Brinker and two of the financial advisors out here in St. Louis, the one called So You Want to Make Money, mainly just because it's a little bit different than everything else. This is, I mean, at Logan, at least, like we have some business classes, but I mean, they're not good. They're not good. So this understanding of like the opportunity, I should say, to talk to people that are actually going through this stuff in the field right now has been huge, because it opened my eyes, and hopefully listeners' eyes too, or ears, I guess in this case, to the options that are available to you as either a associate, an independent contractor, an owner, and then not just what that looks like on the chiropractic side, but also what it looks like on the financial advising side, and where money should be placed at what different stages in your life, and what opportunities you have to reach out to different professionals to bolster your understanding or your success in different avenues of your life. So that was a big one for me, because we also had a in-person version of that talk about 2 weeks prior to that here in St. Louis, and got a lot of good feedback from that. So if you're ever curious about what options you have or what the financial realities look like outside of school, especially if you're an early student or a recent grad or an upcoming grad, there's a lot of good information there for everyone.
Beauty. I just spent the whole time you were talking picking out another favorite, because I had pros and cons, and well, I actually had Snell Part 3, pros and cons, and then so you want to make money. So fourth on my list is Dr. Sloan, but Alex, I know you want to say that next, so I'm gonna pick another one. I'm gonna go. I was between Marshall Grievers, the man who crawls. Did I say his name right?
The old Grim Reaper. No, keepers.
And
You can take it.
but I'm gonna go with this DNS strength training with Dr. Richard Olm.
Yeah.
This was a funny one for us to record. I think he'll even admit this. Dr. Olm loves to talk because he's good at it. He's got a lot to say.
Oh, yeah.
So he had a lot of knowledge to drop in that podcast, and honestly, I feel like we didn't even really get into it just because there's just so much going on. But it was just cool to talk to someone who has a different background, a bit more on the strength training side of things, and how he's really applied a lot of this stuff that we talk about into his passion in life, which is weightlifting and exercise, and just how he's achieved all that and kind of blended it together in his own way. And just now he's, certified McKenzie. He's, he's a teacher with DNS. So, I thought that was a great episode, really fun one to sit down and talk to him.
Yeah, literally anytime chatting with Rich Olm is a good time, and he's got what's the old kettlebell bar now, and everybody's trying to do Sinister. And
I had exercise 3 this past weekend. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but this is a joke because I mentioned it like 3 times already. But Dr. Rintala, have you guys had a course taught by Dr. Rintala before?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay, he's just I think I took exercise 2 with him back in like March or April or something like that, and then I had DNS strength 1 over the summer. So that was kind of my last taste of DNS, as Dr. Olm in the summer, and then we had Rintala come back, and it's just like polar. Like you could not have 2 different people. Like Dr. Rintala is just this slow moving, slow talking surfer guy. He's always got a little cheeky smile going, and he's just like moves like gelatin. I don't even gelatin's probably a bad word. Like molasses, like smooth and viscous, and he's just like such a good move. And then you have Olm, just the drill sergeant. He's just got he's talked about moment arms reflecting on this axis and stuff, and I'm just so lost. But anyway, cool to see 2 different kind of guys.
Yeah.
Alex, you're number 1.
Oh, you did predict correctly. The patient communication episode with Dr. Sloan Beard, easily my favorite. Probably because it was my biggest pitfall in getting to click record the first time we recorded the episode. But hey, we made the second one count. And if Sloan is listening, I hope that she is beaming, because that episode, like, really, that's who I wanted to talk to about with patient communication. Like, I can't think of anybody that does it better. We literally like kind of rate doctors in the office based on patient communication, and it's like she's on one end of the spectrum. So yeah, if you haven't listened to that one and you're about to start a student clinic, or you're about to get out there and practice, or you're already there, learning how to talk to people is probably the most important thing that we do. So I would take the time to learn from an expert for sure.
My girlfriend loved that podcast. I don't think she listens to many of them, but she's like, this Sloan girl, she's like, this is what I want to be. She's so, so
You should have heard of the
appreciate you
first.
getting her to.
Yeah, y'all should have heard it the first time, man.
Yeah,
It's
you think
long.
that's good?
It's in the abyss.
Yeah,
Oh good.
yeah.
I think that's a huge episode, because so much of what we do, and the more we learn about what we're doing as MSK providers, is the psychological aspects are very important. And honestly, just taking the first 5 to 10 minutes of every patient interaction, and just chatting about life and what they've got going on goes a long way to increasing patient buy-in and increasing that therapeutic alliance, or promoting it. So definitely a amazing podcast that everyone here should have listened to. If they have not already, you should get on that now after you listen to this one. Don't leave. My third one I'm going to throw in is partially due to the podcast and partially due to the experience that surrounded it. This is Lessons from the Rep Retreat with Dr. Corey Bailey and Dr. Kyle Utley. If you look back and listen to that one, we talk all about what we're doing out there, but this was in around Denver, Colorado. All of the active reps from many of the schools that have R2B clubs were able to meet in Denver and discuss topics surrounding R2P, who we are, what we do, why we do it, helping to create a cohesive structure and narrative around what we're trying to teach student members, how we can also then build club in things like attendance, fundraisers, opportunities for seminars to come in locally to each school, all kinds of stuff. And with that opportunity, we also got to talk to Kyle and Corey, who were the leaders of that weekend and also members of the actual executive board for R2P. So there's a lot of good insight there that help. I don't know how they do it. They're so good at being a year or 2 or 3 out of school and still relating so well to students. Part of the podcast, or the origin of the podcast, was surrounded or based off the idea that we would be pulling in lesser known speakers. So like Rich Olm would be kind of the opposite end of that spectrum, and same with Snell. So we have some of those, but we also pulled in like the Brad Muse and the Corey Baileys and the Kyle Utleys that are much easier or much better at relating because they're so recently out of school and they still see a lot of things through students' eyes. So if you're interested in hearing about how this more closely relates, or the R2P model more closely relates to student understanding, I think Lessons from the Rep Retreat is a big one. And hopefully next year, when another Rep Retreat occurs, we can get another podcast going to talk about what's changed in like a year later.
Yeah. Beauty. My last one, purely just to fuel the little rivalry between them. Cut that, Sean. Is I'm gonna go with Dr. Bradley Muse as my number one.
Yes, sir.
It was just a bit better than the one with Dr. Olm.
A lot better.
No,
better.
By a mustache.
No, Dr. Muse, wealth and knowledge, he's so fresh out of it and he's just killing it. It's just cool to see, cool to talk to someone who's just high achiever, figuring it out. And yeah, learned a lot from him. Would love to have him on again and learn some more stuff. But yeah, sorry, I didn't have any of the interesting ones, but
That's because they were all interesting. It's hard to pick. When you have 18
Exactly.
bomb episodes, I mean, how are you supposed to even supposed to choose?
Humility.
And correct me if I'm wrong.
Traits here.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but I believe the R2 podcast is the fastest growing student run chiropractic rehab podcast in the United States. Is that right?
Yep, we're working on the Guinness record right now. We're in contact, so I'm sending the stats over, and we should be in the next edition of Guinness World Records. It's not too specific. That's That it's
No.
a very real category.
I heard someone say the other day, I can't remember who it is, but he said, don't be a specialist, be a generalist. And
Yeah.
I have no idea who said that.
Yeah, it sounds good though. I'll attribute it to you.
Alex doesn't seem like he knows who it is.
Yeah.
You know who it is?
Yeah, it's Bo.
Okay. Sorry.
It's like I hear that all the time.
Just watched one of his stories and I heard that. What did we learn through this process? Give me one thing you learned, Alex.
All right, I'm not giving you one, I'm giving you two, because the first one that many of you probably already assumed is that I'm still terrible at technology. This process has not made me any better, and I would have thought it might have, but every time we get on this podcast, Sean has to remind me to record to the cloud, not the computer. So some things just don't change. But second,
okay.
What was that?
Go ahead. Sorry.
The second thing I would say is that I was very surprised and happy to see that seasoned docs that have been out for a long time are willing to still chat with us on a brand new podcast that's run by students and not, a podcast that already has a big name for itself that's going to get thousands of listeners, and they want to do it because they want us to be better and they want our patients that we're going to treat to be better off than their patients are when they came out of school. And so I just thought that was really cool and selfless of them to do that. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex.
I for me, it's been a shock that people actually care what we have to say. We just I think this was Connor's idea, and then Alex was the president of the NSEP at the time, so he reached out to him, and I was like, well, I've done some technology creative stuff before, so I'll hop on. And I think we've created a really sweet team that have a lot of different experiences and backgrounds that can pull on a lot of different resources and previous experiences to create all different kinds of content. I mean, the amount of times we're talking throughout the week or the month about ideas that we have and people we could get on, and why we like this, why we don't like that, and why we think it might be good. And we also have Corey, who can he has a whole network that he can access as well. So I don't even think we've even scratched the surface on the amount of people that we can talk to, but we love getting feedback from anyone that's listening about what they liked and what they didn't like, because that gives us more insight into how to better serve you all, and give you a reason to keep listening to us drone on and on about things that we nerd out about. So thank you to everyone that actually likes to listen or pretends to like to listen to our voices, because we think this is really cool and we love getting the opportunity to share this with you all. And we hope to keep doing this for a while, because this is hopefully like a staple of what you're going to get from R2P is student mindset, doc mindset, things like the symposium, the residency. There's a lot of content that's coming out, and R2P as an organization wants to make it worth your while. So we appreciate that we've been given the opportunity and kind of free reign to do what we want. I guess we're sort of okay at it, and we're just going to keep running with it through 2023.
Yeah, well said, Sean. For myself, I can't stand listening to myself talk. It's just I got to turn it off every time. So I usually don't end up listening to the episodes that I'm on. I usually stick to the ones where it's just you guys or something, so I can get through the episode without throwing up. But yeah, learning a lot. I mean, just finishing sentences is hard when you start when you're kind of on the clock here and you guys are just looking at me and I'm like, what was I talking? Why did I bring this up again? I have one little point and I start talking and then I just keep rambling and it kind of sucks. But it's people will like you said, Sean, someone will tell me listen to the episode, or I got to catch up on the podcast. I'm like, no, man, don't come on. It's just a stupid pod, but so I'm kind of learning to be like, you know what, we have the right to say some stuff here, and people, I think, sometimes value what we say. So that's nice to hear. And I'm just learning all the time from you guys. You're talking about, well, Alex is on NSEB and you're, good with technology, but really we just needed two guys that know what they're talking about. And then I could just be here sitting in on it, asking you guys questions. But yeah, so thanks for you two for being here. Otherwise, this thing could get out of hand quick.
The Connor Fairweather show. That's like a late night thing. That's dangerous.
Yeah, I'm like I'm Alex Jones or something.
Yeah. Oh no. Can't have that.
Yeah. So thank you too for keeping the reins on this thing and
Gotcha.
and you know what? Really good. It's been good for me for time management because dealing with you guys being on the East Coast, it's tough, but
Yeah.
we've been making it work. So I appreciate that.
Don't worry, you're like 2 weeks out from 2/3 of us being on the Pacific
Yeah.
Coast. So then it becomes Alex's problem.
Yeah.
You're gonna be up late, bud.
Yeah.
Ain't getting me out of the South though.
Have you? We'll try kicking and screaming. We'll get you.
Let's talk about season 2. So guys, we basically decided we're going to take a couple weeks off around Christmas because we're being worked to the bone here. We're not getting any money. We're getting kind of nothing. It's kind of insane, the deal that we signed here, but we're still doing it for you guys. So we thought we'll take some time off around Christmas. And what we'll do is maybe we'll make seasons of this because we don't want this to become something where it's just pumping out episodes and they get really bad kind of halfway through the year because we got nothing to talk about. So we're going to try and start getting some more series. Is that already plural?
Series I.
Oh no.
Series. Anyway, we're gonna try and partition different groups of episodes into different series. Yeah, there's an S on the end of there. Yeah,
Okay.
and so hopefully by doing that, there'll be different ones that you guys can listen to if you don't really enjoy the interviews, but you like when we just talk shop or whatever, you can listen to those ones. Sometimes there'll be interviews, sometimes there'll be R2P specific stuff for clubs, etc. What kind of series would you guys like to see? Series apostrophe. Would you guys like to see?
I guess we only got one case study episode in for this first season, which I'm looking forward to us having more, especially as you guys are getting out in preceptorship and all that. I enjoyed hearing case studies on different podcasts, so looking forward to sharing some more of those.
Yeah, case studies are always good. Gives an opportunity for students to hear, at least if given in the correct order, like a history and an exam, like them to start thinking through what they might do, and not that they're right or wrong, but just it's nice to have different opinions or different thought processes on that. But things I'd like to see is like kind of partitioning, like you said, into interviews with students, interviews with docs, things that are like series that are out in the field. So essentially that would be something like a rep retreat or a post-seminar talk, or things that just are more specific topics instead of, hey, we're going to pull Rich Ullman to talk about anything that Rich Ullman wants to talk about, which that's a season in and of itself. But more like, here you have the strength training course. What do we learn this weekend? What do we talk about? What's important? So giving little bite-sized pieces of that information to those that couldn't be there, or a good refresher for those that were there. So I think giving that partitioning is a good idea because it helps break down the wall of like what we're doing and what the plan is for everything. But I like the idea also, like we did the social media talk, a more business series, things about marketing, things about starting your own business, things about what if you're an associate, what does a contract look like? If you're an IC, what even if we end up like the boring stuff like taxes and financials, that's still completely relevant, and something that it might not be the sexy stuff that you want to hear as a student or a new grad, but it's the things that the new business owner or a new IC or associate are very, very important. So I think a business series would be cool, and we have some plans for that coming up.
For sure.
Yeah, I just want to add, Dr. Bradley Muse, if you're listening, please make sure that this podcast isn't listened to by your coworker, Dr. Holm.
Your coworker.
Your colleague.
We didn't mean to get you in trouble.
We've said too much, I think. Yeah, here's folks at home listening on your radios, go ahead and submit what you guys want to hear. Tell us guests you want on, series that you might want to hear, how long you want these episodes to be. Do you want them just bite size on the way to school? Do you want the hour longs, while you're working out? Give us some feedback. We need to know what you guys want, because we are men of the people and we will deliver probably maybe what you guys tell us you want. So looking forward to next year. We're going to spend the Christmas break scheming and coming up with a plan, and we're going to execute on that plan, and then we are going to recheck and then continue treatment. That's the clinical audit process for anyone listening.
Hunter, where can they let us know these ideas? Obviously,
at Move a Minute on Instagram.
Yep,
Do not send it to me.
It'll get lost. Send it to Alex, send it to Sean, maybe send it to Connor if we don't respond.
No, don't send it to Alex.
Send it to Alex via
Alex's account's hacked. All right, Move a Minute is your only option.
See my account, report it, please.
For anyone at home, Alex has entered is it a makeup contest?
Yeah.
Or a hair? You've entered a contest. He needs support. So everyone go
Don't
vote
do
for
it.
him.
Do not respond. You'll lose your account.
No, but can they? Who should they send it to? I don't even.
Honestly, they can send it to either one of you guys. Or you can respond to the overall R2Ps pod. But either Sean or Connor.
If you're a rep, we'll talk about this tomorrow during the national meeting, and we'll figure that out. But if you're not a rep, we'll send it to Alex or Sean, not Alex. Send it to Sean, and then we'll go from there.
We'll edit this one anyway.
Here, we'll just say this. All right. If you want to send information or questions or feedback about the podcast, things
positive
you want,
feedback.
Yeah, positive feedback only. We don't accept negative feedback. You will be blocked. Just kidding. But we have Sean's Instagram. Mine is Move a Minute. You can potentially send it to Connor if I don't respond. But I believe our email is rehab2, the number 2, podcast@gmail.com. I actually do have that on my computer, so I can look at that. I don't do it often, but I can. So if you're more of an email person, do that. If you use snail mail, send it to Alex, because I think that's all they have in the South. They don't have internet. So send it to the farm or something.
Post office.
Yeah. They still have those?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just got one.
Just get one. Cool. So that's how to tell us that we're doing a great job or a really awful job. But with that being said, my favorite part, if you love statistics, if you love to know how this podcast is doing, besides nearing its Guinness World Record implementation into the next book, let's talk a little bit about kind of how this is done and what you all have done for us and have helped us and yourselves achieve to grow this thing. So Rehab the podcast has now had, this will be the 19th episode, and we are pushing over in the range of the 17 to 1800 listen range, which is awesome. Hoping by the end of this year we'll be in like the 2000 range. So you're looking about around like 100 plays per episode, which is pretty cool. We'll get into a rivalry, like a state battle here in a second. I'll tell you who's the best, but this is not just being listened to in the US. There's a ton of countries. So if you're in a different country than the US or Canada, like, hello, what's up? Yeah, I am learning a little bit of German, but not fluent.
Otherwise, German. Are you German?
I think there's some in me. It's a mutt.
I see a little German.
Otherwise, moving on. Otherwise, this podcast goes on all different kinds of platforms. So whether you're a Spotify truther or an Apple Podcast diehard, it is there, and that's where like 96% of people listen to it. But 4% of people listen to it on all the other apps and streamables that are out there. 90% of people are on iPhone because it is the superior product. 5% Android, 5% other. But pretty cool. 94% of people listen to it in the US. Otherwise, 3% in Canada. Represent Connor. And then the next one after that, Norway, 1%, UK, Poland, Australia, Latvia, Sweden, Malaysia, Germany, Mexico, Italy, Puerto Rico, and the Czech all kind of fill out like a percent or two.
Yeah, Pavel's listening.
Pavel, what's up? Yeah. He's listening to us just absolutely wreck the discussion on DNS. But as we are wont to do, we have to discuss which state is best. There's a lot here. Pretty much, I think most of them.
Can I guess?
Yeah, I'm gonna just go last place, and then we'll go top 5. Last place, probably just because very few people live there. Rhode Island.
Okay.
And then the neighbors, Mississippi, are second to last. All right, top 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, what you got? If you can try name one top 5.
5 states for me. Okay, I'm thinking I gotta. Is Missouri? Is that where Logan is?
Gotta be.
Right there.
Missouri
I'm
is
thinking Missouri.
Missouri's number 1.
Hold on.
Ooh.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm gonna go Iowa as number 3. Oh, I got
Number
it.
number 3,
I'm gonna go Texas 2.
5.
Texas 5, hey?
Yep.
Okay. Let me go Oregon. Let me go Oregon 4.
4. One more. Damn, nailing it.
Geez, I gotta imagine. I either
Cal-
gotta go California, yeah, or I gotta go Alabama.
None of the above.
Both wrong.
It's just me and Bones slowing down here.
Chicago, or what's that called?
Illinois. No,
Illinois.
those are like top. California 6, Illinois 7. Number
That's
2, Minnesota.
What?
I was gonna say that.
NWHSU
didn't.
represent.
Fuck.
NWHSU represent.
go.
So there you go. Your top 5 states, and you can absolutely, listeners, just bragging rights to all of your friends. Missouri's number 1.
5 states are getting a free set of rock pods. Congrats.
Woo! Minnesota 2, Iowa 3, Oregon 4, and Texas 5. And then the last thing I'll give you is the top 5 episodes in terms of listens. Episode 1, because everyone loves to start at the beginning. Rehab to Podcast Introduction with your hosts. 152 plays. After that, you have nearing the top spot, Rich Ohm, the DNS strength training. 2.
How many of those are him though? You know?
Yeah, that's true. He just got it on repeat on his. Loves listening to himself talk.
Man, listen to him.
After that, Alphabet Soup Part 1. Then his co-host on their podcast, Dr. Brad Muse, in 4th place.
Do they have a podcast together?
They have like their coffee chats, their Instagram stuff. And then in 5th place, Patient Communication with Dr. Sloan Beard.
That's it. That's it.
There it is. I will say the pros and cons of chiropractic blew up, got like 100 plays in a week, which is sometimes it takes 4 or 5 weeks for them to get to 100 plays, if not longer. So people love their list. People love their controversy. So we'll try to feed you people more of that.
That's what we're here for.
Because you're sick. But yeah, if you enjoy learning stats, there you go. We're open books. But yeah, we appreciate all nearly 2,000 plays that you've been willing to listen to us. We've put out nearly 1,000 hours of content, I think, at this point. Or we're nearing it. Well, we'll be there in the next 10 years. But with that being said, thank you everyone for an amazing year. These opportunities are not taken lightly, and we hope to continue bringing more and more joy to your ear holes over the next 12 months. So continue giving us feedback.
Didn't like the way you said that.
There you go. There you did. I'm talking your ear holes right now. So keep giving us feedback. Tell us what you want. Tell us what you don't want. And we'll hope to do that for you.
Yep. Seriously, guys, we really, really appreciate all the listeners. And as Sean said, the feedback. If I get one text from a student about the podcast. It makes my day. So let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you don't want to hear. So thank you again.
You know, if I somehow do get down to the symposium, we could do a live podcast. That'd be fun. Hey,
Hey, Connor.
Dude, come on.
I can do it over Zoom.
Nope.
If you go talk to Justin Trudeau and tell him to give me a little bit more money, I'll make the trip. But last thing, guys, Liver King. Do you believe all the steroid talk?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been a hot
Okay.
topic in the office this week.
Yeah,
right.
we'll see. We gotta wait
Oh,
for the okay. Let's just call it there.
I was gonna say otherwise, yeah.
Call it.
Otherwise, happy holidays to everyone. We unless kind of got something else to say.
Yeah, let's cut this and do it. I get outro.
All right, you want to do the outro? Who's doing the outro? God, you guys make me
We're gonna
do
have the
so
outro.
much work.
Connor, you got to do the outro. You're the voice.
Okay. Guys, thanks for joining us on another episode. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Thanks for joining us for a wonderful season. Rumor has it season 2 is going to be even better, so stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed the last couple episodes of the year, and yeah, stay rehabby. We'll work on that for season 2, guys.
If it's in our budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks again, guys.
See you.